The guiding question in this next unit is really going to focus on how power is distributed, divided up, and shared within the government. So each government really can do this in a different way. The way that we choose to do this as a country, the United States, is considerably different than what a country like what China would do. So really, there are three vocab terms you are responsible to know, two of which will look pretty familiar to you, and they relate to how governments can answer this question. The first is a unitary style government. This might be the word you're least familiar with. Next is a Confederate style government, which should sound familiar to you since you've studied American history before. And the next is a federal style government, which is familiar to you, hopefully, because this is the ultimate system of government that we have. So we're going to go through and look at each of the three types. Let's focus on the unitary system first. This is really the one extreme. This is the extreme in which the national government has almost all the power, and local governments, regional governments, states, whatever you want to call them, have considerably less power and ability to make decisions. Examples of this type of system would be like the United Kingdom, China. Again, the power flows from the top down. The national government has most of the power, and lower systems of government beneath them have considerably less decision-making ability. On the exact opposite end of the sort of like spectrum, the other extreme, is a Confederate style of government. This is the opposite. This is where the national government is super weak and most of the power belongs in like the local, regional, or like state governments. So think about the Articles of Confederation system. The Articles of Confederation, which we've already talked about, was sort of a reaction to sort of the British model of a strong national government. They didn't want to go through that again. They didn't want to declare independence and set up a government that resembled what they just left. So they put most of the power in the hands of the states, and the national government was super weak. And we looked at like how that was actually a problem. So that's an example. Or think about the Confederate States during the Civil War. Same type of situation where one of the primary reasons they seceded from the United States government was because they felt like the national government was becoming too large, too abusive of its power. And they wanted to return to a system where like the state and the local governments had most of the power. That was also flawed. So that's sort of the other end of the spectrum. The sort of the middle of the road approach is what we have, which is a federal style of government. This unit is going to focus on federalism, how our system works. And that's really sort of like power is shared between the two. In a unitary system, the national government dominates. In a Confederate style, the state and local governments dominate. In a federal system, power is really shared between the national government and the states. Not always equally shared, but both are very much involved in decision making. So again, we have a federal system of government. We will be focusing on federalism, which is how this system works and the balance of power between the national government and the states. But we sort of have a blending of a unitary and Confederate model.